Travel at low cost with points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.
You're listening to the Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Vacula, here to help you travel the world next to no cost with credit card points, miles, benefits, and rewards. Make money, save money, and take advantage of great deals. Thanks for joining me for today's episode, earning MGM Gold and Platinum status in 2025 with returning co-host Darren Remsburg. We talk how and why you can earn MGM statuses for waived resort fees, free parking, lounge access, dining credits, tier matching, and more. Visit meetup.com/Philly miles and points to RSVP for monthly Greater Philadelphia travel, credit miles and points meetups I host in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. The next meetups are January 26th and February 23rd, 2025. Find a link in the show notes. For more content between podcast episodes, follow Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter. Subscribe to Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on YouTube for daily content, including travel videos, clips, community content, and other bonus videos. Also, follow Justin Vacula on Instagram. On with today's episode. Welcome to the show, returning co-host Darren Remsburg.
Justin, this is becoming a habit. Don't threaten me with a good time. Here we go again.
All right, we're recording December 30th. Not feeling too well. My voice may be a little bit off and a bit stuffy, but I'm committed to getting this episode out for early 2025, talking about MGM Gold and Platinum status, as we recently talked about earning Caesars Diamond status.
And what great timing, because as soon as you get done with this, you're going to be off on a cruise. We're able to book that cruise through one of your many status matching opportunities, maybe even starting with MGM Gold or MGM Platinum.
Oh, yes. I was able to match MGM Platinum status at Ocean Casino in Atlantic City, not Oceans Casino, S or apostrophe S, of course. So I was able to match the MGM Platinum status to Ocean Prime status, get a complimentary cruise with MSC, and then I was able to match that offer to Virgin Voyages and get a complimentary cruise. I'm not sure if that's still going to work. We're recording in December of 2024, but I think in 2025 there will be many cruise matching and status matching opportunities.
I think the key, most everything else, is to have the arsenal available when the opportunities arise. So if you have the statuses, then you can match around and get the cruise. Whereas the status match opportunity arises, but you don't have any status like me, then you're caught flat-footed. I don't know, Justin, after that last episode with the Caesars card, I'm eager to apply for the Caesars and get back in the Caesars Platinum game. Maybe even start matching to some other places and take advantage of some of these deals. So we'll see after this whether I'm also going to apply for the MGM card.
Yes, the Caesars Rewards Visa is inevitable. That was a previous episode we had. We talked about the Caesars Rewards Visa credit card and also in-person video poker play. I released a companion video poker strategy video on YouTube. So listeners can tune into that. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, make sure to be there in addition to the podcast. Video poker, you're going to be playing in person as well?
I will be. In fact, after I saw your video go up, I'm like, hey, I haven't played video poker for a little while. I better take a shot here and just make sure I'm still up to snuff. And so I have Video Poker Trainer or something similar to that on my iPhone as an app. Played about 100 hands and happy to report was 100% accurate. Probably the first time in a long time I've gotten 100% on anything,
oh, nice.
Justin. So I'm happy to take that A+.
Yeah, you got to give us a shot. As you said, take a shot of the situation.
Everything that happened before and all of that, that's what dictates that.
That's what dictates that. So we were spoiled for years with status matching. but free Caesars Diamond status appears to be ending January 31st, 2025. MGM is no longer partnered with Hyatt. That died some time ago, as now it's Marriott. We all got Bonvoy. So no more free MGM status through Hyatt status matching. So if you're a Hyatt globalist, you're not able to get Caesars Diamond, you're not able to get MGM, you're not able to get much matching. So the cure to the lack of status is the MGM Mastercard earning status. But before we talk about the credit card, why bother earning MGM Gold or potentially higher? MGM Gold is the sweet spot, I think. Waived resort fees, complimentary valet and parking, Amphora Lounge access at Borgata. I released a YouTube video showing a walkthrough of the Amphora Lounge. It's all you can eat food, all you can drink alcohol, premium alcohol as well, not the watered down stuff that you typically get on the casino floor. $12.50 in comps or MGM Rewards points per guest. So for 2 people, easy math here, $25 total for you and a guest for the all you can eat and all you can drink. When I'm at Borgata, I only go to the Amphora Lounge and the buffet in most cases, if 1 or 2 of them are open anyway. You can also get in the buffet for a discounted rate of $12.50 with the MGM Gold status. You and 1 guest, $12.50 per, once again, for $25 total. This is a really good deal. I was recently in Atlantic City around Christmas, and they had the buffet going for somewhere around $45 or $50. So getting a discounted rate of $12.50 is fantastic. The Amphora Lounge is usually open daily at 2 p.m., so you can instead go to the buffet for brunch. They got rid of breakfast. Now it's just brunch. I have a YouTube video of the Borgata buffet as well. Gold status also gives you what they call a $100 dining comp. But in my experience, I was able to go to the MGM Rewards desk or the Players Club, and they would simply add $100 to my account. So that would mean more visits rather than just going to one place and spending $100 on one visit. MGM Gold status also gives you priority line access. And this is a benefit that comes with the MGM Mastercard as well in some places. And I've been able to check into VIP rooms in Las Vegas with the MGM Gold status. Sometimes Platinum is needed. MGM Platinum gives you a suite upgrade once per year. In my experience, I had this at Aria in Las Vegas. I had a complimentary night booked through the My Vegas suite of games, which we'll get into later. Complimentary night, I was upgraded to a Sky Suite, which would be otherwise a very expensive hotel room. Platinum status also gives you later checkout time. I've had 2 p.m. checkout time. I've also had other general room upgrades. When I go to Borgata in Atlantic City, I get upgraded to the MGM Tower rather than a standard room or a classic room in the usual tower. MGM Platinum status also gives you a complimentary annual cruise for you and a guest. I've cruised before with Celebrity through this benefit for, I believe it was a 5-day cruise. MGM Platinum status also gives you a $200 dining comp that you can just add to your comp balance. A $600 flight rebate. This used to just give you cold hard cash, and now it's free play or comps. You simply show them an itinerary with the cash value of the round trip flight, and they will reimburse you up to $600. And again, possible status matching, possible cruise matching. A lot of utility comes from the MGM Platinum status and a lot of benefits also at MGM Gold.
Those certainly sound like fantastic opportunities, Justin. We'll get into what the different tier levels are here in just a moment. But I'm curious, you mentioned a couple different locations, the Borgata in Atlantic City. I know one of your favorites. Tell us more about which hotels are included and where they might be located for listeners that would be interested in taking advantage of some of these.
Yes, Borgata, I mentioned. There's also MGM National Harbor that's in the Washington, D.C., Maryland area. MGM Grand in Detroit, and many properties in Vegas. I mentioned Aria, there's Bellagio, Mandalay Bay, Park MGM, New York, Luxor, Excalibur, MGM Grand, many MGM properties. Beau Rivage is also an MGM property as well. So there are many throughout the United States, maybe not as big of a footprint as Caesars, but still lots of MGM opportunities. MGM Springfield, I believe, another one too.
Yeah, I appreciate you highlighting those. I was just checking out the website myself here. Looks like there's an MGM Empire City Casino. That sounds like maybe it's in New York.
I'm unfamiliar
All
with
right.
that one.
I'm asking the master all the hard questions here. And yeah, Borgata, Grand Detroit, National Harbor you mentioned, Northfield Park. I'm not sure where that one is, but that's another potential. North of somewhere. For those folks that may know where those places are or have an interest in those, looks like Northfield OHIO for those interested. So there's some good options there. Previously, you talked about the different tier levels and talked about gold being maybe the sweet spot, platinum offering a number of additional benefits for those that are interested in spending a little more time maybe in the casino or online. We'll talk about that in a moment. But what are the other tier levels that folks will be moving through in order to get to gold, platinum, maybe even noir?
So everyone is sapphire at a base level that's less than 20,000 tier.
Participation trophy is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing because Caesar starts you at gold, but gold is a higher level with MGM. So sapphire starts the MGM ladder here. Sapphire starting up to 20,000 tier or a little bit below 20,000. And then Pearl kicks in at 20,000. You automatically get Pearl just for having the MGM Mastercard. Pearl gives you the free parking and maybe some other benefits, but not too many. Gold kicks in at 75,000 tier. Platinum kicks in at 200,000 tier. And Noir is invite only. Even though I've smashed the 200K platinum goal for 2024, I have not received my Noir invite. People speculate that it has to be losing lots and lots of money on slots, table games, and other activities that we're not going to be doing on this podcast.
Absolutely not. That is not the business decision that you are looking for, I know.
It would be nice if I can get there in a creative way, but I don't think that's going to happen. So let's move on to the MGM Mastercard and talk about earning these tier levels, what it takes to do that. Recording in December of 2024, the current sign-up bonus on the card is very unimpressive. It's a 10,000 point sign-up bonus, $100 in comps for spending a low amount. I believe it's somewhere around 1,000 spend in 90 days. Super easy. This is sometimes higher. They might give you a bonus of 15,000 or $150 in comps, and this isn't to be confused with tier credits. The tier credits are what you need to get the status levels, and the comps are what you're using for hotels, dining, and more. Sometimes they do throw in some tier as a sign-up bonus, maybe 10,000 tier, usually not too much. You automatically get Pearl status with the credit card, as I mentioned. Allegedly, you get priority line access. I have seen these signs. If you have the MGM Mastercard, you get a special line with the gold members. This is no annual fee and no foreign transaction fee on the MGM Mastercard. So the sign-up bonus is very low. Pearl status isn't too much of a benefit, although it could save you a lot of money on the parking if you were to go to MGM casinos a lot. But the main play with the card here is that you get comps and tier for all of your spend. So you're spending at MGM properties, you're going to get 3x comps or free play and tier. We'll talk about the comps or free play distinction a little bit later. You get 2x with grocery and fuel purchases and 1x everywhere else. So that's 2x tier and comps or free play with groceries or fuel, 1x everywhere else. Sometimes you get 3x for loading to BetMGM. So this means that you can use your MGM Mastercard as a transaction method on BetMGM and load thousands of dollars, potentially maxing your credit limit even. So if you were to load $1,000, you would get the 3x tier and the 3x comps or free play. So 3,000 tier per $1,000 load, make the math pretty easy. I say sometimes 3x because they announce this promotion. Usually it happens twice a year. Sometimes people get 3x even though there's no announced promotion. But when this promotion is announced, I max the credit limit. I encourage everyone else to do that. And of course, gamble responsibly. The 3x promo can last for several weeks, so you can potentially double up on this by maxing the credit limit twice in 2 different statements. The promotion's so good that you can fly to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Michigan, other states where BetMGM is. So a 15K credit limit could get you 90K in tier just for one promo. So that gets you to gold and almost halfway to platinum status. So even though it's a low sign-up bonus on the card, the ability to spend your way to status is extremely powerful.
In addition to that, the 90K would be $900 in comps too, right? So 90K tier, this card allows you to almost double dip on both tier and comps. Is that correct?
You would get the tier and comps, yes. So some quick math. If you were to max a 15K credit limit twice or charge $30,000 to the credit card, you would get, yes, $900 in comps or free play on top of that tier, the 90K tier. So I mentioned doing it twice to avoid what we talk as credit card cycling. So if the issuing bank, FNBO, the First National Bank of Omaha, gives you a credit limit of $15,000 in a statement period, they really only want you to use the $15,000 in a statement period. So if you were to run it up, pay it off, and then run it up again, spending $30,000 in one statement, that could lead to adverse action and get you shut down. Banks typically don't like that. So to give another example, if the promotion were to start, say, July 1st, your statement closed on July 14th, you can make those purchases before the 14th, pay it off on maybe the 13th or the 14th, statement closes, and then maybe on the 15th or the 16th, then you could spend again. So this avoids cycling, it avoids adverse action, and you should be okay to do that.
Just a reminder to listeners that we are in it for the long game and are trying to avoid all instances of war and happiness together. So we appreciate the public service announcement on cycling. For those that have been in the credit card churning game, or that's an important thing to note, and what banks are tolerant of that sort of thing.
Yes, and being in it for the long game, you have a full calendar year to get the status, at least if you have the card earlier in the year. So I don't think there's a case or an argument for putting an excessive risk in trying to cycle when you have the entire year. I think gold status is very easy to get. If you do that 3x promo, you do some 2x grocery and fuel spend. And if you hit that 3x promo twice in a year, if they run it twice in a year, then you'll get a large way to platinum. So I don't see a strong argument for cycling when we could just treat it as a marathon.
If someone like me was interested in getting back in the status match game and was considering the Caesars Rewards card and maybe now the MGM card, we talked about when to apply for the Caesars card. When would you recommend applying for the MGM Rewards card, irrespective of whether you want the $100 or the $150 bonus, considering that's really not why we're signing up. That's not really where the value in this card lies.
Yes, some might want to wait for a better sign-up bonus or a higher tier offer. But the problem with that is if you're in January and you're able to get the card in January, I'm going to wait, then it's perhaps April, May, June, July, and between January and April, you could have put spend in and got that 10K tier or extra $50 in comps that they would otherwise give you. So I think it's best to just get in the game early in the year.
And as we all know, Justin, the answer to really all the problems in the world is, that's correct,
more credit cards. The 2X grocery and fuel, we've had previous episodes talking about different grocery programs, Giant and Weiss here on the East Coast, Safeway on the West Coast, and even Acme we have here in Pennsylvania, the Kroger, Harris Teeter stores, a lot of grocery stores that sell gift cards that you can resell or prepaid cards that you can convert to cash in many ways. Even though it's only 2x comps or free play, you're also getting the tier. And I would think that some more of the advanced listeners would want to use several cards to do the grocery spend with. So even though other cards like the American Express Gold Card will give you 4x at grocery stores up to 25,000 in a calendar year, this can be a very good volume play to use other rewarding cards and get these great status benefits.
Yep, agreed. So you talked earlier about there's some interesting ways to convert comps to free play or free play to comps. I'm assuming this does not involve Mavis, a gift card, anything like that, circa 2019.
Yes, you used to be able to purchase $500 MGM gift cards inside of Borgata and convert those gift cards to free play and play video poker. Sadly, that's no longer a thing because that was an MGM purchase. So you'd use the MGM credit card to buy the MGM gift card and you would get the 3x. But now you're simply using the credit card for loads to BetMGM, preferably when it's the 3x bonus, and then for your grocery and fuel spend. So once your statement closes, that's when the tier posts, that's when I'm looking at the app here, the slot dollars post. It's a bit quirky because initially the rewards from the credit card post as slot dollars, but if you wanted to convert them for more value, you would convert them to the MGM rewards points or comps. But you need to do that in person at the MGM Rewards desk or the Players Club. I say more value because if you were to use it as slot dollars or free play, you're giving up some house edge. But if you were to convert it to comps and then use it for food, for hotel stays, then you're getting the full value. And it's also interesting to point out that the comps forgive tax on food purchases and potentially hotel. So if they were to charge you a 6% tax and you were to get $10 in food and use comps, you wouldn't pay the tax at all. The comps would just cover the balance. So the comps have some good value. But if you're a heavy spender with this card, and hopefully those who get it will, you're going to have lots and lots of comps. So I think at some point you would just play through some of the funds in slot dollars. And you used to be able to play the full pay video poker, at least at Borgata, but they stopped allowing that. And now you would just have to play other video poker with lesser pay tables. So I did that on my last trip at Borgata. There were some machines near the Amphora Lounge. It wasn't the full pay 9-6 jacks or better. It was, I believe, an 8-5 machine. So even then, it was still better than playing slot machines.
When you say full play, Justin, what do you mean by that?
The full pay jacks are better. The 9-6 jacks are better. That's 9 credits for a full house and 6 credits for a flush. So the lesser pay tables don't pay as much. There's not as much of a return to player.
So when you said 8-5, that's 8 for a flush and 5 for a full house? The opposite.
No, the opposite way. The full house pays more than the flush.
And that's based on credit. So if you have 1 credit in, it's 5x or 8x that 1 credit, and you talked about playing a little different kind of game. I don't know if you wanted to get into that here or did we already talk about that on the last show?
No, on the last show, we talked about the single line video poker. So this would be the single play or single hand video poker, where I was betting $1 for 5 credits. You always want to bet the 5 credits in these 5 credit games to get a multiplier if you were to hit a royal flush. So yes, you would be betting 5 credits. So if you were to use the free play or slot dollars on the dollar jacks or better game, you would want to play 5 credits for $5 a hand to get the royal flush multiplier.
And then you had played a different game that basically we think will reduce variability around a 5 credit bet or $5 bet. And by breaking that down into 50 or 100 different hands per hand that you're playing. And that sounds a little bit complicated, but in reality, you're making the same decision as far as which hands to keep, which cards to keep within your hand. But instead of drawing once, the computer then draws 50 or 100 times. And instead of one $5 bet, it's 50 10-cent bets or 100 5-cent bets. Is that correct?
Yes, America still loves math. When I was at Harrah's Atlantic City playing video poker to get the Diamond status and potentially Diamond Plus, which is looking really likely at this time, it was penny, 5 credit, 100 play. So yes, instead of betting $5 on a hand, it was $5 total distributed across 100 hands. So I'm thinking this is less variance or variability, as you said, because you're not bricking out on everything. If you were to play the single line video poker, whether at Harrah's or Borgata, if you were to be dealt a nothing hand and then draw to nothing, you just lose your entire bet. But if you were to be dealt nothing, at least you have more chances on the runouts to get jacks or better, 3 of a kind, or other potential hands. And you get to see a lot more hands. So you're going to see more royal flushes. And that's a big part of the payout. So maybe at MGM locations, you can use the slot dollars or free play to play a lower denom multiplay video poker.
That sounds like a good opportunity. I think an interesting analogy, at least the way I've been thinking about it, is the coin flip analogy, right? So if you flip a coin once, it's very easy to lose if you're betting on heads or tails. If you're going to flip the coin 5 or 10 or 50 times, of course, you're going to see a lot more heads and a lot more tails than if you flip it just a couple times. So you're just increasing the odds of potentially increasing the samples. I'm going to make this more complicated than it needs to be. But as you said, really, the benefit here is you're reducing the variance, both up and down. So if you're going in there trying to gamble your way towards a new car, it's probably not the way to do it. Although, again, Justin and I would not recommend that be your goal. But also, it's less likely you're going to lose your car in gambling. So that's also a good goal.
Yes, and to go back to the coin flip, it would be if we were to flip coins for $100 a flip, or you could say, hey, let's do 100 flips, $1 each. So it's going to be extremely unlikely that you would lose those 100 coin flips, right? You would win some of them, of the dollar coin flips totaling 100 versus one $100 coin flip.
A great analogy. Thanks for that.
Okay, to return to the credit card, I mentioned it's issued by First National Bank of Omaha. This is an obscure bank. I'm not sure why they have this partnership with MGM. You cannot pay this card by phone, many listeners have asked, but it might be a good thing that FNBO is issuing the card, because maybe it's an easier approval given that veterans of the hobby probably don't have cards with FNBO, where if this card was issued by Chase or Citi, it might be harder to get approved because people might already have cards with them, or they might have an extensive credit profile that prevents them from getting approved. So First National Bank of Omaha, I don't think they're really strict on the approvals, although in personal experience, I usually wait 6 months between my applications, at least for the cards that are pulling from the frequent bureaus. So FNBO issuing the card, and the bureau might vary from person to person and maybe even from state to state. So typically I search the My FICO forums to look for the issuing bank and which credit bureau or bureaus they pull.
I seem to remember there was a travel rewards card from FNBO a number of years ago that had some sweet spots or something. And I might have signed up for that even at the time. I don't have it. I'm pretty sure I don't have it anymore, but I'd have to probably perform an archaeological dig to ensure that.
They do have an Amtrak credit card.
I don't think that was it though. Although we do like Amtrak around the Northeast corridor here, but yeah, I don't think that was it. Really, the 3X is beneficial for online loading at MGM properties. So outside of meals and hotel rooms, can you find a way to load money into machines with the MGM Rewards credit card, or has that mostly disappeared?
Unfortunately, I don't believe that's the case for in-person, but surely you can use the credit limit to gamble online, which of course our buddy Dave Ramsey would be a huge fan of.
Ooh, Dave Ramsey reference drink. And there's no way, I'm starting to think a little bit like a travel hacker here now, right? And there's no way to load the money online and then go into the casino and withdraw it in person and then play as a way at workaround there. Probably somebody along the line wouldn't like that.
So typically I would think that when most people who are using the online blackjack sites or playing other games, they would just withdraw the funds to their connected bank and checking account. But you can pick an option on BetMGM to pick up the funds at the cage. So if you were to be withdrawing $5,000, instead of sending it for ACH and appearing in your checking account, you could go in person to the casino and get the cash there and then use that to gamble.
Do you think MGM would object to that if you didn't play through it online? We know certainly that oftentimes casinos don't like it when you just deposit and don't play through. But if you're instead depositing and then withdrawing at the cage, and then maybe the casino thinks you're going to play through it in the casino, do you think that's a workaround to that limit?
I wouldn't test that, but it's an interesting idea. And that sort of activity can just get you banned. Although it would be a good story to say, hey, I just wanted to make this money available for in-casino play, and I was going to play it there. But I think they intend for you to actually play it through at least one time online and then pick it up at the cage.
And in that instance, there's really no advantage to then picking it up at the cage and playing through it again, right? Because you've already earned the 3x. You might as well try to find a different way to leverage that.
There could be scenarios where, I just don't want to carry lots of hundreds with me to the casino, or it's inconvenient for me to go to a bank and withdraw the money, or they're going to give me all 20s or 50s and I don't want that. So maybe if you're planning on playing poker and you don't want to carry the money with you, you can plan to pick it up at the cage when you get to the property and then use that. So that could be one option.
It's an interesting idea.
Could gamble in person, but I just don't think it's worth it. If we could just use the credit card and play our way to get the gold and platinum status and then use those comps for food, I just don't really see an argument for gambling in person at the MGM casinos, like playing slots or playing blackjack, anything like that. If we could just have the benefits with the status. Some might say, I really enjoy playing craps. I really enjoy playing baccarat. And maybe when I play the table games, I'm giving up a slight edge, but they're potentially going to give me free rooms or other comps. Then that gets into the speculative area. But I'm just more likely to do that at Caesars properties because I can't spend my way to 7 stars, unfortunately, using their credit card, and only gets me about halfway to diamond. So I would focus my play at Caesars properties on tier multiplier days, as we've talked about. And then for MGM, I would earn my tier through the credit card and the BetMGM activity online.
A good way to think about that. So if you have limited time to play and potentially have a couple different casinos available to you, focusing on the Caesars casinos, especially during those tier multipliers that we talked about, makes a lot more sense. Because like you said, you can get essentially tier and comp multipliers with your credit card every day for MGM that you can't get with Caesars.
So when they run that 3x promotion with the credit card, that's a really strong time to max that credit limit. You can space it out, even not just do one deposit of $15,000 if that would even go through. Maybe break it out, see, okay, well, look, I have 3 weeks left in this statement, so I'll space out my play by maybe 3 days, do a few thousand every 3 days to not just suddenly ramp it up. And then maybe that transaction's declined because it looks like irregular spending activity. We ask, where's the line? You guys are encouraging me to deposit, and I try to deposit and the transaction gets declined. But maybe best to de-risk by spacing it out. So very easy to get status playing during those 3x promotions. So that's a time where I'd be playing blackjack using the credit card, essentially, where I'm giving up about 0.5% to the house, but I'm getting the 3x tier and then 3x free play or comps. Otherwise, you're just getting 1x on the loads, and at that point, it might be quite marginal, but there might be a case for it if, say, your statement closes on January 4th, and you still have about $5,000 in credit limit, and you're not going to be going to grocery stores or gas stations like Speedway and buying gift cards, then you might choose to get pretty close to the credit limit by loading at 1x, and you still have a 0.5% advantage in the comps or free play, and then you're still getting that 1x tier. But ideal world, we would be getting at least 2x on our spend with the credit card.
Yeah, I agree with that. And sometimes even if you stop by a Speedway, it turns out to be a Speedway hut, you're stuck again.
Yeah, the cashiers just make up rules. I was at an Acme store, a grocery store, and the cashier told me, "Oh, I'm not sure that we're able to sell you a $500 gift card because we have new rules for the new year." And I said it with a very straight face. "Oh, isn't it still 2024? Oh, well, yeah." Then it was another story of, "Oh, I just don't want to lose my job or get in trouble for selling you a $500 gift card." And at that point, like she's just making up stuff. She's just giving me a hard time. So that was one of the classic, "All right, I'll come back at another time," rather than arguing about it or like pushing the issue a little bit more. I did ask if we could have a second opinion on this, and she said with quite an attitude that, "Oh, the manager is on a lunch break right now, so if you wanted to wait 20 minutes, you can do that if you want." Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to stand here for 20 minutes.
Too bad you didn't have your wad of hundreds from the casino that you could have just used that instead, because obviously there's no fraud there.
Yeah, the wad of hundreds is okay, but a credit card with an ID isn't. It's pretty great if we could just max the credit limit with a 3x and avoid these interactions sometimes with the cashiers making up the rules, siding with the war on happiness.
Speaking of fun with phones, Justin, I know you're famous for your phone army. And we talked about how the phone army is not all that relevant or helpful in the Caesars world, but I think it is for MGM, right?
That's right. So if you were to earn different rewards playing the various My Vegas or Play Studios game, I have several YouTube videos on this. You essentially put slot games on auto spin or sit in the lobby of various games like My Vegas Blackjack, My Vegas Bingo. You open gift boxes in the Tetris game. You earn these gold coins in the game, and you go in person at casino to redeem. And especially in Las Vegas, they have rewards like 25 off of 50 food, buy one, get one food offers, 20 off of 40 food offers. So you can stack the My Vegas rewards with the comps that you earn from the MGM credit card, pay zero tax, and have a more discounted meal, several meals.
Sounds like the wins are continuing for you, Justin.
Yes, you could use the My Vegas rewards for complimentary nights, complimentary cruises, the food discounts, and much more. So it's nice to have the capital dollars and deploy the capital dollars of the MGM comps and use them in conjunction with the My Vegas food deals. Because with some of them, I wouldn't spend $40 on myself, but if they're giving me a 20 off of 40, then that seems a lot more appealing, especially when I'm using the comps.
That makes sense.
And two people can eat for 40 in many situations.
Yeah, a number of outstanding deals. I know people talk about how Vegas used to have all these outstanding deals for meals, and I have not been lately, but it seems as if some of those things have gone by the wayside unless you're playing some of these games up front or have comp opportunities like we've been talking about the last couple shows. Having been to Las Vegas a couple times, certainly not as many times as you, but it's still, I think, a great destination in a variety of different ways. And as we're all about saving money, traveling for a little less, but still having a great time. And again, I think this episode is another great opportunity for folks to learn about what you've been doing and how they can employ similar techniques to save a little money on their vacations and maybe have the opportunity to therefore travel a little more.
That's right. Vegas is only expensive if you're unprepared. But if you prepare by getting the MGM Mastercard, you play the My Vegas games, and that's play in air quotes because it's very little effort. I boot the games in the morning, boot the games in the evening, run the games in browser tabs, and it's really easy to earn 1 million gold coins a month, as past podcast guest Tammy had stated, and I, of course, do that. Super easy to earn the rewards, super easy to save in Las Vegas, and we might even have Venetian or the Venetian joining the World of Hyatt program, so there might be some more opportunities there. But past podcast guest Adam Bauer / travel fanboy assured us that it will not be a category 4 Hyatt for those easy certificates.
Shout out to travel fanboy.
The over-under at 5.5, category 6, category 5, maybe category 8.
Who's setting the line on that, Justin? Are you taking that action?
I am not at this time. All right. Any other thoughts on the MGM program and the power of the MGM?
It's interesting. The MGM program seems to have obviously some different opportunities compared to Caesars Rewards. Certainly the most appealing one is the opportunity to spend towards status and comps in the same dollar spent. And I think that's really attractive for a lot of folks, including me. And even something like Caesars, where you have to spend some time. We don't have to, but as we talked about last time, the real opportunity for that card in that program is spending time in the casino playing probably video poker at a time when the tier multipliers are available. It's not 10x, right? It's not 5x, but for 3x or 2x, you can do the same thing and never have to leave your house, which, as you and I have both become fairly accustomed to, is a great way to manufacture points, miles, comps, tier, all those sorts of things.
So lots of opportunity. And I think it's also worth noting that I think it would be silly to go for MGM Platinum if you don't plan on being in MGM casinos that often. If you were to go to Vegas maybe once a year, probably not going to be worth it unless you want to have a really grand trip and have all these comps and free play and you're going to go on the cruise. But I think it would be tragic to spend your way to status and not use the benefits. So we don't want to be blindly seeking status. We want to have reasons for going for it. But for me personally, in Pennsylvania, about an hour and a half from Atlantic City, going to Borgata, going to Vegas many times throughout the year, definitely getting tremendous value with the MGM Mastercard. And I'm really eager to see the status matching opportunities that are going to come in 2025.
Yeah, one of my daughters has really turned into kind of a beach lover. She's more or less the only one in the family that really enjoys that. But I wonder if something like this would provide some opportunity to a good excuse, right? To hit the Atlantic City just for the weekend, have some comp rooms, maybe not on the weekend, but have some of those other benefits that we talked about, make it a little easier to get in and out of town, check in a little faster, have a pretty cheap place to eat and drink, those sorts of things. And and then a lot of what I do, I think what many people do is for themselves, but also for their family to travel and enjoy some of the things. So it's an interesting proposition. Certainly Atlantic City, the summertime is a lot of fun.
Yes, and during the summer, it's traditionally more expensive too, and the comp nights typically aren't available. So if you were to have the MGM comps and use that for hotels, that's an option. Perhaps you would stay at Harrah's Atlantic City to be close to Borgata, or maybe you would stay slightly out of the city. Galloway, New Jersey, I was looking at, has a Wyndham property. There's a Wyndham property right on the boardwalk if there's availability. So you have so many options.
Indeed. Before we start getting into the summer, what exciting New Year's plans do you have, Justin?
Yes, I'm going to be going on an Aparama spree. January 1st, the ball drops, the credit card applications go in.
You love to hear it.
Yes, so looking at applying for 6 credit cards, maybe more. I'm going to create a video of this experience. I'll just redact the personal information in the applications, and you'll see what the outcomes are. Hopefully some instant approvals, but it's probably going to be a lot of pending, under review, or something similar. But I've been waiting about 6 months now, so I'm ready for new cards in the new year. And I think for you, cards are going to be coming out of your safe as the year resets, and so do various high spend goals and spend opportunity that creates more meaningful spend on many credit cards.
That's right. January 1st is the day that we all sleep in a little bit because maybe you stayed up the night before a little too late. And then you get all your Amex cards, your Platinum business cards, your personal Platinums, and you start firing away at those travel bank opportunities, at Dell credits, at all the things. Hilton gift cards now, apparently. Can't wait to get to the Maldives and swipe 360 of these $50 gift cards to pay for my supper. It's going to be amazing.
Although I've heard that I think domestically that they've had the most success domestically, but some international places have said, oh, we don't accept these. So that's some negatives there. But I do understand the intention of your joke. But just to clarify,
For a variety of reasons, just traveling with a shoebox full of, I'm just imagining this in my head now, a shoebox full of Hilton $50 gift cards would be amazing.
oh, I do have Flues, as you mentioned, sent me a special scented candle, and there is a satchel that came with that. So I can use the satchel from the scented candle to hold the Hilton gift cards. I've been using them for prepaid cards, actually, but I can add the Hilton cards.
It's all coming together,
satchel.
Justin. It's all coming together.
But they told me I couldn't light a candle in Harrah's Atlantic City. They claimed it was a fire hazard, to which I responded, oh, people are lighting cigarettes, and wouldn't that be a fire hazard? And I didn't get a real answer to that, other than, oh, that's the policy. We don't make the rules. You know, okay. Who makes the rules?
Yeah, apparently today the cat makes the rules.
The cigarette smoking gives them the money, though. All the casinos could agree to be non-smoking, but they realized they would lose money. So I think they're going to continue that trend at the expense of the non-smokers, and especially the staff, the dealers, and much more.
Yeah, you got to think at some point they're gonna cut that out. But I'm surprised it's lasted this long, to be honest.
Yeah, some other states have designated smoking areas that you must smoke outside, or there's a whole separate room to do it. But no scented candles from Flues at Harrah's Atlantic City. You can't have those. Maybe in the smoking hotel rooms. I don't know. I'll find a use for it. But thanks, Flues, for the candle. It was very nice.
Shut up.
We have here January 4th. I'm flying to Miami. I'm going on a Virgin Voyages cruise we mentioned earlier. This was from one of the match opportunities, thanks to MGM and other statuses. So lots of travel coming in 2025. Virgin Voyages cruise early in the month. It's going to be Atlantis, Bahamas after the cruise, and then Atlantic City towards the end of January. So lots happening. And then after Atlantic City and after the Greater Philadelphia Travel Credit Miles and Points meetup in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania, back to Las Vegas.
Of course, I know how you feel about Las Vegas and all the opportunities that arise there. So we're just thankful to have you in Pennsylvania for as long as you're going to stay.
As long as the online blackjack continues, I'll be in PA is my idea.
Yep, that makes sense.
I'm even considering going to New Jersey more often in 2025 to play online blackjack and get closer towards the Caesar status and potentially get the 7 stars status partially through the online blackjack.
Got to find a card that multiplies New Jersey tolls. That's the key right there.
Pay the toll. It'll be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Any closing thoughts?
No, always appreciate the opportunity to record with you, Justin, talk through these things. It's always an education for me as well, and appreciate the opportunity to learn. So look forward to the next opportunity after you get back from your cruise, maybe.
Yes. Thanks for coming on once again and chatting. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for future episodes. Some closing announcements. Early bird ticket sales for Zorkfest 2025, a miles, points, and gambling event, are now live at zorkfest.travelzork.com. I hope to see you at Zorkfest 2025 in Las Vegas from December 5th through December 7th. I'm also looking forward to other events in 2025 and had a successful 2024, speaking at events with Award Travel 101, Travel Zork, Frequent Traveler University, and both Chicago Seminars events. If you're an event organizer and would like to have me speak at your 2025 event, please contact me. Visit meetup.com/Philly miles and points to RSVP for monthly Greater Philadelphia travel. Credit miles and points meetups I host in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. The next meetups are January 26th and February 23rd, 2025. Find a link in the show notes. For more content between podcast episodes, follow Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter. Subscribe to Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast on YouTube for daily content, including travel videos, clips, community content, and other bonus videos. Also, follow Justin Vacula on Instagram. Search Hurdy Gurdy Travel on subscribestar.com or become a channel member on YouTube. to financially support my efforts, starting at the $5 a month tip jar level. Receive special perks at higher subscriber levels, including private one-on-one conversations. Find links and more at hurdygurdytravel.com. UDIO.com created the podcast intro and outro music. The AI features of the website Descript helped me edit and improve audio quality. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Travel at low cost with points and miles. Credit card rewards bring the smiles. Many adventures, tales to be told. Make and save money, the world will unfold. Fight the war on happiness, pick up the gold. Hurdy Gurdy Travel Podcast breaks the mold.